Well, good morning. Happy Tuesday to you. I was planning 5 short talks last week and I only managed 3. Why? If anyone that's looking at my LinkedIn feed will see that I went to Lake Tahoe and was chasing bears. So I only managed 3 out of the 5 last week. But I'll continue this week on areas of the theme, which was social media, actually. So I think that I've been very active in social media for probably 15 years. I've been intrigued by it because it's really enabled me to build a community which I can reach back to and get information from and do these kind of videos. Actually, I find it really a place to actually sort of collaborate and share information. So I learn a lot from the folks who I connect with on social media, and I often talk to people that I'm connected to find out about their world. So I think social media is a big deal. It's been a big deal to me. Social is actually a Latin word which talks about allies. That's what it means, allies. And I think that it's misused to some degree, social media, and misunderstood. I think that people see it as a sort of another arm of traditional sales and marketing. And I think that sort of some of the traditional ways that sales and marketing are still done today are somewhat outdated. I mean, well, we can look at email campaigns, cold calling, et cetera, et cetera. The world's changed, and still doing that stuff is probably not the most effective. So I think the social media is a very effective way, not only to build community, to learn, but it's also a way for folks to do B2B marketing and sales. And I think that was the thrust of setting up Spatial Advisors as a company, which a group of us have been talking about for some while. It's really to look at how, particularly for the smaller and medium-sized technology companies, how they get the message out. How do you not break the bank, so to speak, of your budgets to do more traditional marketing that are less and less effective? How might you use social media to actually engage, build a community, to start doing some of the things that you're trying to do to connect with folks that share your same why? So that's been the thrust of my sort of work over the last 15 years and my journey within social media. And I've now kind of, with a group of others, set up a company to do that work. I'm going to point at an article that I wrote just yesterday, which really talks about some of those sort of high-level pieces that social media represents. And I'm looking at the article over here. So if you see me glance, I'm actually reading some of the 4 points that I've included in that article. I encourage you to read the article if you're interested. It's more of that value that potentially social media brings to your world as a relatively small business or as an individual. I mean, there's a lot of things that obviously social media can potentially bring. The Spatial Advisors piece is obviously to help folks better leverage social media. So I'll rattle through the 4, but I'll point you with the article. Number 1 is it is social. So it's really about building a community, building a network that shares your same why, Simon Sinek's why, and engaging with that community. It's social. It isn't this message you're flinging out hoping that somebody bites. It's you engaging, and ultimately people trust and work with those that they have a relationship with. So social is really very critical there. And I think LinkedIn is obviously the B2B world, which is more of my focus, not B2C. So I do a lot of work within LinkedIn. The other piece of that is really social media marketing. What does that actually mean? I think a lot of people kind of misuse social media. They think if I post things about my company as me, then, it'll drive sales. And you see a lot of sales and marketing people talking about their company. But what people are forgetting is you have a personal brand, which is really what LinkedIn is about. It's about individuals. It's about community. It's about connecting with people. It isn't about connecting with companies. So people mistake what that looks like. And they tend to post things about their current company and then their next company and the next company. Well, far less interest. And if you are engaging in a community, we want to know about you and what you think and what your opinions are. Now, you can link those to the things you do at work, and there's a sort of a place where you can connect those pieces. But it's really a mistake to promote your company that you're working with today, because one day you won't be working with that company anymore. So what do you do in social media then? You change your story to some other company. Be consistent, be you. I'll write a lot more about personal brand. So that's the second. That's the second one. The third one is really sort of sales in social media. I mean, you're connecting in a community. You're talking to a group of people. Now, if you're a small company, for example, and you've got a product which helps solve a particular problem, well, there's probably people in that community that have got that problem. You can connect with those people. You can very quickly see who has interest in the things that you're doing and reach back to them. So there's a real journey that one can take within social media that's much faster and less expensive than traditional market and less and more personal. I mean, you actually build relationships with folks. And I think the last one is cadence. I think, keeping that community, sharing your thoughts in that community, your why. Again, my why is thinking differently, taking different approaches, having different perspectives, which is essentially the same as what we do in a more action-based world in spatial advisors. But that's really my core. I'm very interested in what's coming. I'm very interested in looking at things from different angles, and that's sort of what my personal brand is. But from a cadence perspective, keep the cadence going, keep communicating and talking to your community. If there's a sales perspective you've got, well, buyers aren't always looking to buy straight away. So, staying sort of front of mind is important. And there's sort of traditional marketing pieces that you can connect to that. So that's today's talk. I'll dive in a little bit deeper into some of those things later this week. But I wanted just to highlight how I think social media from the B2B side is very overlooked. And I'm really combining here my interest in doing things differently, approaching things from different angles, which I think is social media and sort of the misuse and misunderstanding of social media, plus the piece which is, the company that I work for, where we actually put this stuff into action and help folks leverage social media in a more effective way. So there's a little bit of personal brand here. There's a little bit of spatial advisors here. So I'll include this under me as my. It could easily be included in spatial advisors. It's kind of hard to know where sometimes this overlap is. But again, I'll finish just by saying, think about social media within your organization and its value. And again, reach back to me if you've got questions. And for today, I'll do another talk later in the week, but thanks for listening.